Hey guys, Kristina Nikols for IdeateTV at the Gluten-Free Expo in Pasadena, California, talking to author April, who's written a few gluten-free books, and she has her new book out. Bake sales are my beep.
I like how you did that. That was impressive.
April, tell us, how did you get involved in the gluten-free world?
Sure. Well, I was diagnosed with celiac about 6 years ago now, 5-6 years ago, and I'm a writer. Journalism that was my background. So of course immediately I started writing about it, and I didn't realize at the time that I'd hit the zeitgeist, that right as I was diagnosed with celiac and had to be gluten-free, everybody was talking about gluten-free and everybody was exploring the idea. So I started writing my blog, Gluten is My Beep, and I was able to turn that into a book by the same name, and it has done very well because, again, look at this community. There's so many people here and so many people looking for answers and looking for recipes and looking for somebody to commiserate with. And then my next book, I created a lot more recipes with the gluten-free cheat sheet, which is what I use for dinner every night, how to figure out what I'm making for dinner. And then now I've expanded into the 8 main allergens, beyond gluten to the other allergens, and kids, and how we can keep our kids safe with all of the different food issues that are going on. So yeah, I'm covering it, food, all of it.
It's become your world now.
I'm in the food world, the allergy food world, or the celiac world, yes, absolutely.
And how long was the process for you in discovering that you had celiac?
I was very lucky in that I got sick really quickly and really horribly and wound up in the hospital, and they sent me to a GI doctor right away. So it was about 6 months start to finish before I got the diagnosis and knew what it was and knew how to handle it. So I was lucky because it takes a lot longer for most people, I hear.
And how's the process been for you, the transition and now that you're eating gluten-free?
Well, I still hate it, but I do like to cook, so I do create a lot of my favorite things, so I don't feel as deprived, which means I make a lot of sweets, I make a lot of things that are going to make me feel happy when I'm feeling sad. But it's hard, it's tough, especially when you travel, as you know, or you dine out, you want to feel normal, and you don't feel normal. You have to have 28 conversations, and then you probably can't eat anything but carrots. So it's hard, but I definitely work every day to make it easier for myself and whoever else I'm sharing that information with, so we can be satisfied at least.
Have you discovered an item that you can take with you when traveling that's easy?
Well, I mean, I always have cheese and crackers. Like, I always get like some, whether it's Glutino or Char or whatever brand, I get some gluten-free crackers, I get some cheese, and I know I will have that. If nothing else, I will have that with me. Yeah.
What advice do you have for someone who's going through that right now and just discovering that they do have celiac?
I would say, first of all, to visit a nutritionist to make sure you're not making any big mistakes that could cause you a lot of harm down the road, because there are a lot of sneaky sources of gluten. There are a lot of things you're missing by not having gluten, so make sure you're treating your body in the best possible fashion, because that is the most important thing. And after that, just be kind to yourself. Like, if you want a gluten-free cookie, have a gluten-free cookie and don't feel guilty about it. Just make sure you are taking care of yourself in every way that you can.
And what are some of the sneaky places where gluten shows up that people might not be aware of?
My favorite or least favorite is when I go to a Japanese restaurant or a Chinese restaurant, and they're like, oh, we have gluten-free options, but then something is actually cooked with soy sauce. That sneaks in all the time. But even more so than that is the cross-contact when you go to a restaurant and they say, we have got a gluten-free menu, and you get excited and you order something, then you didn't ask the question, like, was this pasta cooked in the same pot as the regular pasta, or was this gluten-free bun, was it grilled on the same place as the bun with the gluten? Those are the sneakiest places that will get you every time.
I feel like you have some personal stories about that.
I have 20 million personal stories about that. It happens so much, and I'm like, I really want that pizza, and then I find out it's completely ruined because it's been cooked on the same surface. And I get sick, and I still want that pizza. Yeah.
It's a challenge.
It's a big challenge.
And do you have some of your personal stories in your books, or are they sticking mostly to recipes?
I do, especially my first book, and Gluten is My Bitch. It's a lot of memoir. It's a lot of, these are the mistakes I made, don't make the mistakes I made. I took a trip to Paris, which is like one of the worst places to go if you're gluten-free, and walked people through my mistakes. And then in bake sales, I have a lot of parenting stories because I have 2 children, and I've navigated a lot of schools and bake sales and after-school play dates. So a lot of good personal stories.
Yeah, your daughter. I met your daughter earlier, and she said that she's not allowed to read the newest book.
She's not allowed to read. The Gluten-Free Cheat Sheet is my only PG-rated book. Everything else is for adults only. Don't let your kids read it. She's too young to read my books. But she can work on the recipes with me. She can do that.
So I guess if anyone's looking for an honest account, very, adult and honest.
Adult, yes, adult, for sure.
Thank you so much, April.
Thank you.
And where can people find information about your books?
They can find me at glutenismybitch.com, and I have everything you could possibly need to know about me right there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kristina Nikols for IdeateTV.